Commissioner Payne to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. SDP 25-48 Magnolia Square subdivision.
Mr. Chairman, this was here last month for deferral. I think it's still not ready to move forward yet, so we got another 30-day deferral.
Okay, is the applicant present? Is there opposition present? What's the will of the commission?
Second.
How long? Have a motion to defer 30 days. It's been properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. SDP 25-50.
Yeah, this is a preliminary plat for Heritage Green Phase 3 for lots 1 through 33. Staff does recommend to approve this plat with conditions.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Applicant, are you fine with the conditions from staff? All right. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Item SDP 25-51.
Sure, this is a preliminary and final plat combined for Southside Garden subdivision, lots 1 through 19. It's in the city of Chattanooga on the 2600 block of Long Street. This plat does meet the subdivision regs and we recommend to approve.
Is the applicant present? Is there opposition present? What's the will of the commission? We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Brian, I believe case number SPV 25-3 has been withdrawn.
Correct. That's correct, Mr. Chairman. They submitted a request last week to withdraw.
All right. So no action needed on that one. Let's move into old business. Item 2025-0189, 2149 West Shepherd Road.
Sure, this case has been deferred a couple months. This original request is rezoned from RN2 residential neighborhood zone to CC, commercial corridor zone. The applicant did provide one condition, that's limiting the height to 35 feet. It's roughly 1.5 acres in size. There's been no zoning history for this piece of property. However, to the south and west of this site, you can see that property was rezoned from R3 to M1 with conditions in 2014. That's a Coca-Cola bottling facility. Everything around this property is RN2. To the west is IH. To the north is TRN3. There is no commercial zoning abutting this property. It's a vacant piece of property. To the west is industrial, which is the Coca-Cola plant. To the south is vacant land and single unit residential. To the west is vacant property. Here's a view of the site. Another view of the site. This is east of the site, which is vacant land. This is south of the site, which is single family dwelling. This is West Shepherd Road. This property is in the Shalford Road Lee Highway Plan, which was adopted in 2004. The plan recommendation for this property is low density residential. So you can see the plan does not support commercial uses or commercial zoning at this location. Here's a closer view of that plan recommendation, which is highlighted in the red circle. This is the site plan submitted with a request back in December. Staff reviewed this. The site is surrounded by vacant land and single unit detached residential. There is industrial use to the west of the property, but in a historic Shepherd Cemetery to the southeast of this property, for the most part, it's residential. The proposed commercial office use would not be compatible with surrounding uses. The 2004 Shalford Road Lee Highway Plan recommends low density residential. And then in Shepherd community, they have a policy from 1987, which the city council reaffirmed in 2019 that basically held that this section of Shepherd shall remain residential. The existing R2 at that time is more appropriate than commercial. So based on those reasonings, staff recommends to deny this request.
Thank you, Brian. We have Councilwoman Burrs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I met with the applicant and the president of the neighborhood association, and I think I'd like to ask the applicant to come forward because we've come up with another option for that application.
All right. Mr. Jones, please come forward and state your name and address for the record at the podium. And we'll hear from you now for up to 9 minutes. But remember that I said you don't have to take them all.
Don't worry. Good afternoon, Alan Jones with Stone Creek Consulting, 1112 Wilmouth Road in Dunlap, Tennessee. As Councilwoman Burrs mentioned, met with Ms. Ivy, President of the Neighborhood Association, and Councilwoman Burrs as well. And they're also in agreement with RPA's assessment that, commercial is not appropriate on this property. So they did ask us to come back and look at some residential options. So the request is to come back with a TRN3 rezone request, which is for townhouses. As you can see on the zoning map, two parcels to the north is also TRN3. So just using the same compatible zoning that's there. Both TRN3 that we're requesting and the R2 zone both allow for townhouses. But given the shape of this lot, it's only 100 feet wide. If we were to use the RN2 zoning, we would have to put a 50-foot wide right-of-way down the property. We'd only have 50-foot deep lots, which when you get to your setbacks, we can't build on it. So the other alternative would be to have 6 townhouses, just 16-foot wide facing West Shepherd Road, which is not an ideal situation either, because then you've got 5 or 6 driveways, just spattered along West Valley Road. So the site plan that I submitted to Councilwoman Burrs and to Ms. Ivy was to have a single access with a TRN3 to have townhouses on the site, utilizing the HPR, not zoning tools, but the I guess legal structure of property to be able to provide some additional housing for this community.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Councilwoman Burrs.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for taking the time to meet with myself and the community. I think you submitted the new design to Brian. I don't know if you've had a chance to open it. I've got a hard, that's okay. It was late. It was late. Here's a hard copy of it. And I know you have an email version of it. The community did review the plan and is in favor of the plan that you've come up with for the townhouses. I think we'll get together later and talk about design. We don't need to decide that today, but I have shared that with the community. So with that, unless there's any other questions, I make a motion to approve this as a TN3, TRN3.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Burrs to approve this as an alternate as TRN3. Do I have a second? Motion's been properly seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
I just have a question.
Yes, sir.
This is just a process question. You were trying to get, what were you going for?
The original request was for an office building
Commercial? Yeah.
with residential, yes.
Yeah, I'm just, are we required, since it wasn't posted, there was nothing about residential, is there any requirement that we not just pass this and post something that it's residential? So if there are people, I mean, I would assume that most people would rather have this than the commercial. I just think, and maybe if you don't have to do it, maybe you don't have to do it. But I'm just asking if you need to post that this is in effect what we're doing, And maybe we can, I just don't know the answer to that, Brian. I mean, what?
Now, this has come up from time to time over the years, especially when it gets to city council. Sometimes the request may be for commercial, but at city council or county commission, it may change to residential or vice versa. My understanding from legal at that time was as long as you put a notification up that something is happening at that property, that's acceptable, as long as it's less intense zone. You couldn't go from commercial to industrial.
Okay.
In this case, it's going to less
So if
intense
you
zone.
posted commercial and we were putting a nuclear plant right there, it'd be a problem.
I think so. What we can do is also, prior to this going to city council, we can give Mr. Jones a new sign to put up based on the property that's now going to TRN3, if that's what this body would like to see.
That is standard practice at city council. And, obviously every local legislative body in Tennessee has final authority over all zoning of all land in their jurisdiction. So that's where, the actual rezoning takes place. And they do that every month where they'll approve a different zone. Anything from the attorneys on that? I won't put you on the spot if you don't have anything, but okay.
If I could, I would strongly recommend that you get the new sign up as soon as possible so that the residents can look at it.
Yeah, we can give Alan a new sign tomorrow.
Absolutely.
That's a good idea. All right, anything further on this case? Okay, Brian, let's go to case 2025-0190, 3886 Agawila Drive.
Saying that this case has been deferred for several meetings now, but this is this is a request to rezone from RN16 residential neighborhood zone to RN3 residential neighborhood zone with conditions. Proposed use is multi-unit residential. The acres of this property is 4.29. The number of units submitted at that time was 79. That's a density of 18.7 dwelling units per acre. The three conditions proposed by the applicant was a maximum of 2 street curb cuts along Aguiella Drive, no parking allowed between the buildings and Aguiella Drive and the northern property line, and a maximum building height of 35 feet. There's no zoning history on this property, but abutting this property, there has been several zoning cases near this property. It has C2 or CC to the south. To the west is RN3. To the north is RN16, and to the east is CC. It's a vacant piece of property. To the north is single unit residential. To the south is commercial. You have vacant to the east and a multi-unit residential to the west of this property. This property does have a flood plain associated with it, which is the lighter blue color. Here's a view of the site. Another view of the site. This is north of the site, it's in the single family dwellings. This is south of the site, where you see some of the commercial uses. This is west of the site, what's the multifamily. And this is Aguiella Drive going into, I think it's the Indian Hills subdivision. This property is in the North Brainerd Area Plan, which was adopted in 2004. The area plan recommends single family residential for this property. Here's a closer view of that property. You can see it's single family. This is the site plan submitted with this request. It's multi-unit, but looks like townhomes. The request with conditions is compatible with adjacent land uses. In the development form, there's a mixture of forms in this area, including one-story multi-unit apartments with paved parking. This site is located in neighborhood nodes right across from the former Walmart shopping center. The 2004 North Brainerd Plan recommends single residential with single family dwellings being the dominant development form. Although this request for multi-unit is different than the recommendation of the single family residential identified in the plan, it does provide other housing types and forms, something the plan recommends. This site plan depicts a residential form that more closely resembles townhomes than amassing a large apartment complex. So staff recommend to approve with some revised conditions. The ones in red you see on the screen are what the applicant proposed. So we're in agreement with those. We're adding 2 other conditions. So the conditions recommended by staff are a maximum of 2 street cuts permitted along Aguiella Drive, no more than 4 attached units per mass building. That's to control the massing of the structures. No more than 79 units. That came from the applicant's site plan. That's the number of units proposed. No parking allowed between the buildings and Aguiella Drive and the northern property line, and a maximum building height of 35 feet. So staff recommends to approve with 3 conditions. When this case is before this body, I guess about 2 months ago, there was opposition. So I don't know if there's opposition here today to this request, but staff recommends to approve with conditions.
There is opposition present. Thank you, Brian. Any questions for staff before we go to the applicant? Okay, Mr. Jones?
Is the applicant okay with it?
Good
We do have
afternoon.
opposition today, right?
I do,
Ms.
yes.
Stanley Cash, okay.
Yep, she's back there. Yeah, good afternoon, Alan Jones with Stone Creek Consulting. So for this project in particular, I was working with Councilman Dennis Clark to get a neighborhood meeting set up to be able to meet with the community. He was able to set up a meeting last Monday, and we had it was a large crowd. I think we had probably 125, 150 people at the meeting, so it was a good representation. And and I think you may hear from one of the neighbors in Indian Hills. It was both the whole community of Indian Hills, but also the greater kind of the greater area of this area of Councilman Clark's district. He wanted to have a kind of a large meeting with the larger community. Looking at just real quick on the conditions from RPA, one of the conditions that I would like to amend as a recommendation is condition number 3 with the no more than 79 units. After working and talking with Councilman Clark, I would like to reduce that to 67 units. And that's a response to providing a mix of housing options for this development, having a combination of both townhouses, still with the kind of grouping of 4 massings together, but also having single family cottages on the property. That way there can be a diverse mix of housing types and a diverse mix of either purchasers or renters to be, to moving into this community. That was one of the big topics at the meeting was, is this going to be for rent or for sale? And I can't stand up here and tell you it's going to be one or the other because we don't know yet. With any housing development, whether it's a subdivision or townhouses or duplexes, the developer has the option of putting these for rent or for sale. And that's just going to kind of determine what the market place is showing when this project is constructed, if it moves forward. More likely it might be a year and a half, 2 years down the road before, units are even able to sell. We did look at, and I did an exercise for Councilman Clark on what could be, actually built on this property with the current zoning. And we looked at there's a way to subdivide this property where we'd actually have 2 cottage court developments. So it'd be a total of 20 units, and those would have duplexes on them. And then the remaining land would actually parceling it out into single family lots, utilizing both doing an attached ADU. So it kind of visually looks like a duplex. But, and that total count was about 36 units, which, obviously is a, 79 is almost doubling what the request is. But I think but I'll continue to work with Councilman Clark as he is the conduit with the community, because that's his preferred method. And I would like to continue to respect his process. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay. Oh, yes, Commissioner Adamson.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, the only change in the condition is no more than 67 units. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
reducing the density.
But the other 4, condition 1, 2, 4, and 5, you are fine with?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions for the applicant? All right, we will hear from opposition for up to 7 minutes. I'm sorry, 9 minutes. 9 minutes for opposition.
Well, I have enough for what's in my package here. Good evening, good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Stanley Cash. I've lived in Indian Hills over 30 years. And when we passed around a petition of the neighbors, the longest one was 45 years. And it's like maybe 60 homes in Indian Hills, and they're all homeowners. And what it looks like is they're building a community around our community. But I want to say, first give you all thank you for giving us 2 deferrals. Look like we need another one because we haven't had the opportunity to have any input from us, the neighbor, the homeowners. We have 3 streets in our subdivision. One is a cul-de-sac. And like I said, we've all been there up to 45 years and other homeowners before then, before we moved this way. We have not, and you all granted us a deferral in November, December, and January. So here we are, showing up. We have not had the opportunity to meet as a community association, not the other subdivisions in the area, because there's a lot of development going on in the area where Dalewood and Shallowford and FedEx. It's just like we're circled with a lot of development on Moore Road. Well, anyway, we haven't had the opportunity. We've set up 3 neighborhood meetings to meet with our councilman since you all gave us the deferral. We had never met with him before the sign was planted, but he's been meeting with the developers and Mr. Allen. And we're not here to be against renters. We're not here to be against what they want to build. What we want to do is we want to say no to the zoning that's being requested and keep RN 16 single family dwelling. There's nothing wrong with that, is it? As far as that's a beautiful private subdivision. And it's kind of like Brainerd Hills over there, Councilwoman Burt's. Your community over there is such a tight knit. Now what you see is a little wooded area that looks ugly, but that's the entrance to Agawilla, and it's only one other entrance is from Chattanooga facing Pin Oaks. And the traffic is horrible, just daily work traffic. And we're not sure what type development. I mean, you just explained it's about 2 or 3 styles you want, but you're not sure.
Ms. Stanley Cash, can you please focus your comments to the board like I asked?
Oh,
please?
yeah,
Thank you.
sorry. he's willing to meet with us. So we're hoping that we should have a meeting before it comes to city council, for sure. And you all have done your due diligence as a commission. RPA have done theirs, right? Getting all the ducks in a row. The ducks stop with us. We're not in a row. We haven't been in a row with our councilman in a one-on-one meeting with the developers. That meeting Monday was for the community wide. We didn't have enough time there to specifically to be heard what we want in our community. Well, add our amendments in it. I may be using the wrong wording. Let me look at my notes. But we wanted on record that we prefer RN 16 single family dwellings. This home ownership, and that's the type area. So you all please travel that area. And will you pull up the entrance with Agawella and the property right there? That's the land. That's just, we've always looked at it like green space. Once you turn in from Agawella at the red light, that's just a long road going up the road to all the beautiful homes. And then, it's a cul-de-sac street. That just look like it's in the woods somewhere. Used to be beautiful greenery. And it's a wetland, swampland. So in the front facing Dalewood School, Shalper Road, that's a senior living, not a senior home. That's a senior residential home next to New Hope Baptist Church. It's a lot of wooded area, land going up that way. So it like multi-unit residential, single unit residential and vacant, are those the area that you are proposing building on? So see, we're not used to what's up here, what's being proposed and what the councilman have added in. He's only been in our district 1 year to run for office. So he's not familiar with our area. He should respect us and meet with us. We're his constituents. Commissioner Beck, we're his constituents. This is a very serious request. So we don't even know the start date, end date of building these, but I think we should slow down our commission and the council with all this approving zoning requests. We're not out of apartments in this city to rent, but to be so intrusive on a generational homeowner neighborhood, private, and to come in, not just your spot. We got dogwood development, clear cutting, deers running through the neighborhood, everything. It's just a lot of development in that one area. It's a flood area. It's a Trail of Tears trail underneath our streets where, we should really look at all the other things. The way you all propose it, it sounds like, oh, it's okay. But I think we should be given more consideration in our community as far as redesigning make it fit the community. And like I was telling Mr., I can't keep your name on my head, but like we were talking, make it fit the community. Homes fit. How much time do I have? Let me hurry and get to
You have 2.5 minutes.
How much?
2.5 minutes.
And I'm sorry if you're bored. But on the record, we would like for you to vote no, hold this over, and give us the opportunity to talk with our councilman to include our information that we would love on there. For instance, those two entrances, what you're talking about coming out of Agawella on that street, it's only one red light to the right. Go back, please. Right there. No, that's the house. Right there. That's the front facing Shalper Road when you're at the red light where Dalewood School, where that red light is to go to the right to the levee and coming from the tunnel, Wilcox Tunnel, Shalper Road, Moore Road, everything just go right there to go across Jersey. So we would like to see how traffic enforcement will handle the congestion there. And where that residential home senior living home. They're able-bodied people. They have cars and everything like this, not like a nursing home. It's always a deadly wreck when there's relatives pull out of there to even go right or left. It's horrible right there. So it wouldn't hurt, to delay. Is there a starting date on the development? As far as, we would hate for you to rezone this, and then they can just go dig it up and the dirt just be dug up for another year or two. It's not enough information on the applicant information. And this is where you put stuff in writing as a contract, right? Before you forward it over to city council. So we would like the opportunity to have some of our input, and it'll be a plus. It would be a plus. So I don't know if you all can give us another deferral. I understand the councilman is out of town this week. He's so busy. The other meeting his birthday in December. So we have tried to work with him, and he can learn a lot from us. He's been in office, since April? We're there for him. So again, thank you all for your respecting us to give us the deferral the first time, the second time. And you all were with Patton Tower. And I'll say the rest of my information and write it up in a letter.
Thank you, Ms. Stanley Cash.
Unless you want us back to say you'll give us a deferral. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. So we have gone through the
Council, right? Oh, how long will it be before it hit the city council?
next month. It'll be at the planning and zoning meeting chaired by Councilwoman Burrs on the first Tuesday of next month. And then the second Tuesday will be the first read of any item that comes out of today.
Will you all give me a second as far as, we're so confused.
Ms.
how
Stanley
to
Cash, I
time.
will say that you did go through the entire 9 minutes with your comments.
I just want to know the schedule with city council. Can we talk at 2:30 or 3:30?
So 3:30 is when the agenda session, there's nothing at 2:30.
Are we
At
allowed
3:30
to attend the discussion meetings?
Yes,
we
it
can
is
go in?
public and you absolutely should do that.
Great, because, we're going to do a newsletter too. Thank you so
That's great.
much, all of you.
Thank you.
you all.
Applicant, you have 2 more minutes for rebuttal if you choose.
No rebuttal, just if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you. Yes.
So I just want to go ahead and say that thank you to the neighborhoods that have come out and spoken vocally about their concerns. Alan, thank you for spending time with the neighbors and Dennis to kind of carve through this. I know it sounds like there may be more things to do, but I think knowing that we've already deferred this twice, it's time to go ahead and make a motion. And I would make a motion to approve, knowing that that boundary is already adjacent to quite a bit of, I believe, RN6 and commercial. And I think that what you're doing here is somewhat unique. You've made some changes to be more accommodating. And in that motion, I would also say that condition 3 needs to go from 79 to 67.
So commissioners, I understand that you are making a motion to approve.
Yes.
I want to make sure we get it correct. The RN3 zone with a reduction in 67 units, but the other conditions as written by the staff.
Yes, that's the motion. And I would just encourage the neighbors to continue to reach out to Dennis between now and the city council meeting. I think you guys can accomplish a ton between now and then. Ultimately, he's going to be the one that kind of carves this out and helps you guys get exactly what you need within reason. So.
All right, we do have a motion. Do we have a second for that motion? Do you have a motion that's been properly seconded? Any discussion on that motion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Commissioner Highlander.
Just very briefly, ma'am, I think this group does not make the final zoning decision. So I think I'll probably vote for this, but please do come to city council with your discussion and your people. Thank you.
All right, any further discussion on this item?
I have a
Commissioner
question for
Atkinson?
staff. Thank you. Can you look at RN16 and confirm whether or not group homes are allowed there?
I'm looking it up real quick.
Group homes that are exempt under state law would be allowed there.
The
There are,
nonprofit.
yes, the nonprofit group homes that have a certain threshold to meet the requirements would be allowed in that zone because the city does not have the powers to prevent them. But there is
So-
another group home on a commercial basis that Ron's checking on.
So if we went with what Ms. Stanley Cash asked us to in terms of RN 16, potentially that could become a group home community around their community, correct?
Group homes.
If they went with the nonprofit status.
Yes, they're exempt.
Under state law.
Under state law, but also just a reminder that fortunately, in the city of Chattanooga, in the RN 16 zone, any single-family detached home can have an ADU also. So just thinking about what can be developed on a property, every single-family home can have an ADU by right.
Okay, thank you.
And residential care facility for profit would not be allowed in any of the residential zones.
We have a motion that's been properly seconded. Is there any other discussion on the motion that's on the floor? Ms. Stanley Cash, we are in deliberation now for the Planning Commission. I'm sure she'd be able to talk to you after, as would I, if you stick around, or we can talk later. We have a motion on the floor that's been properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to case 2026-0014, Brian. That is the 1000 block of Shallowford Road.
This case also was deferred last month. This is a request to rezone from RN 16 to RN 3. Proposed use is townhomes. It's roughly 0.59 acres in size. Number of units proposed are 6. That's a density of 10 dwelling units per acre. Like the zoning map, everything around this property is currently zoned RN 16. There is no RN 3 zone near this property. If you look at this zoning map, again, this was equivalency map from RN 1 to RN 16 in 2025, new zoning code. There is RN 3 approximately 550 feet to the west of this site. That appears to be zoned in 1970. So since 1970, there's been no RN 3 near this property. It's currently a vacant piece of property. To the north is single unit residential. To the west is single unit, and to the south and east is vacant property. On this property, there are some steep slopes. Once you get off of Shallowford Road, it does have some really steep topography, and it levels out once you get to the top of the property, but it's really steep in that front portion. Here's a view of the site. Another view of the site. This is south of the site, some of that vacant property. This is east of the site. The site's just on the left-hand side of the screen. This is west of the site, single-family dwellings. And this is Shallowford Road. The site's on the left-hand side of this picture. And here's, we did get a call last week that new signs were not placed with the new date, but they were when this picture was taken. It does indicate today's meeting on those signs. I put those in this presentation to see. It does indicate on those signs that the meeting will be held today. It's in one of our older plans in Eastdale from 2000. There is really no land use plan recommendations in the Eastdale plan for this property. It just says new development should be designed to fit in with the architectural style and scale of the surrounding neighborhood. So since that plan didn't really provide much guidance and Plan Chattanooga has not been adopted, we still looked at it for some guidance since it has been through a public planning process, just not been adopted by the Planning Commission or City Council. And the Plan Chattanooga does recommend suburban residential as a place type for this property, and it does recognize there are some slopes on this property. Here's the site plan originally submitted. It's hard to see, but these are 6 individual flag lots that come down to Shallowford Road to get their frontage with a private driveway going up to provide access to these lots. The developer did submit a new site plan on February 2nd. Reducing that number from 6 to 4. These are still 4 individual flag lots coming down on Shallowford Road with a single private drive, providing access to these 4 townhomes. This request, even though it is changed from 6 to 4, is not compatible with the Eastdale plan or the draft Plan Chattanooga recommendation, which is single family residential. Again, because there's very little guidance in the Eastdale plan, we did reference Plan Chattanooga. Now, there are multi-unit residential land uses approximately 550 feet to the west, but these units were constructed in 1970. This request would introduce a high-density zone and development into a low-density area. So staff recommended to deny this request. We did talk about deferring it for the applicant to come in and talk to us about maybe a different zone or different design options since we haven't had time to meet. But based on the zone requested and even changing from 6 to 4, I believe staff would still recommend deny this zoning request at this location.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions for staff from the commission? Okay, I believe I saw the applicant. If you can come to the podium. You have 7 minutes. Please state your name and address. Can you speak, Zeka, can you speak a little more into the mic so we can hear you?
Okay,
Or
is that
it
better?
wasn't on. That was our
There we
fault.
go.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So the idea behind this development is to get better use out of this land that presents challenging topography. However, doing some evaluation on the basic level right now, it presents some favorable conditions in that left side where you can see some units being placed. The 6 or 8 unit idea was for sure a push. And, you know, after seeing RPA's report and talking with my client, the developer, we, you know, tailored down to this 4 unit idea, which looks more favorable. The slopes on that side of the property are a lot less steep. We are able to provide plenty of parking, a good enough size driveway to give access to the residents. And yeah, just a better use of the land and provide some diversity in the area. And we believe this plan makes sense. So any questions for me regarding this?
Any questions for the applicant from the commission? Yes, Commissioner Lyle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Zach, am I reading this right? That it looks like the next door neighbor might have built across the property line?
Yeah, there seems to be some discrepancy, and I believe that we have some opposition today regarding that situation, which as the consultant representing the developer, I'm not part of property ownership and the ins and outs when things get sold and contracts. We're just approached by what we believe to be the property owner. But yes, there is an encroachment with the driveway of that neighbor. Not the building itself, but the driveway kind of reaches right that left corner of the property. To the left there, Brian. Yeah, right there, there's a little encroachment there with the driveway, but that has not been considered. One thing also to put on the record here is that we have reluctantly reached out to Councilman Elliott regarding this case, and no response. Really having a hard time contacting him and starting the approach with the community. Definitely want to put that on the record since he told me he was going to respond to my emails and he never did. So anyway.
All right. Make sure you follow up with him before council,
try.
whenever this gets there. Any other questions for the applicant? Councilman Elliott, District 9. Any other questions? Okay, we'll hear from opposition for up to 7 minutes. I believe we had some here. Please come up and state your name and address at the podium, and you'll have up to 7 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Nolan Proctor. I am the owner at 1015 Shallowford, so it's that blue house in the picture. I have a purchase and sales agreement and an original listing for this lot claiming they're selling lots 25 and 26 of Block C Vista Terrace pre-subdivision plat book 13, page 16. And I have a counter offer that I assigned and an appraisal for both of those lots. So it was my understanding for this purchase agreement that the right half where, if you look at the house, the right half, that yellow line bisects was my property. My driveway apparently is not mine. So I would really appreciate a no vote until I can seek out legal counsel. So to deny the rezone would be beneficial for me to at least figure out what's going on here, because apparently I didn't buy what I thought I bought. So I'd like to get that settled first.
I do have one question. We've already deferred this a month. Did you know about this a month ago?
I was made aware of this on Wednesday of last week because my neighbor, Miss Brenda up the hill, the big yard at the very top of the picture there, came down and handed me this and asked me if I'd seen it. And I hadn't. She pointed out that it looks like they're trying to rezone half of what she also thought was my yard. So
Okay. Do you have anything else for us?
I would like you guys to vote to deny this until I can seek out legal counsel and figure out what's going on. It's the biggest thing. As a first-time homeowner, I don't know what I'm looking at. So I would just, if I could seek counsel to have a better understanding, I would appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have questions for the opposition from anyone on the commission?
No, I do have a question though.
Yes, sir.
I would just tell you, you need to seek counsel, but it's really not our place to get into disputes about who owns the property, but that's certainly something you need to look into. I was wanting to ask staff, you said that you guys contemplated a deferral to help figure out a different, or some kind of option for this.
With different zones, not just the RN3, but come in and talk about what could be done with it. Like you could do 2 single-family dwellings and 2 ADUs, still get 4 units, that type of discussion.
Yeah. Well, my
We just
thought
haven't
is,
had time to
I
do it.
would just, let me think a minute.
What's the will of the commission? Commissioner Lyle?
I think the applicant has their last 2 minutes.
I'm sorry, you do have a
to
2-minute
respond.
rebuttal. No, you did not want to take-
Well, I was just gonna ask, Zeka, would you guys be willing to take another month of deferral on this? It looks like there's a couple of things here that still need to get figured out, and it would be nice to get with city councilman in
Yeah.
the area, and I feel like a month might help your neighbor
Mhm.
kind of figure some stuff out. And if it's not, super critical path, it may be a good way to handle a few different things.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. Gonna keep trying with Councilman Elliott, and yeah, we would love to meet with the community as well if we have the chance, but that seems reasonable.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion to defer this for 30 days.
Okay, we have a motion to defer for 30 days that has been properly seconded. Any discussion? What's the will of the commission? Please say aye if you're for this. All those opposed? The ayes have it. We'll defer 30 days.
If I may, real quick, is there any way I could get some information about city council meetings from y'all after we're done with business here?
Staff can give you that. They start every Tuesday, 3:30 agenda, and then the business meeting comes back after recess.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's move on to new business, case 2026-0015.
Mr. Chairman, that case is actually the applicant which had submitted a request last Wednesday to withdraw this request.
All right, that case has been withdrawn prior to this meeting, so we'll move on to case 2026-0016 on 1010 East Third Street.
Sure. This is a request to rezone from CN, commercial neighborhood commercial zone, to CC, commercial corridor zone. This is right across from Erlanger Hospital. Proposed use is, it's a medical office. They're wanting to have a drive-through pharmacy as part of that medical office. It's 1.59 acres in size. This site was equivalency mapped from R4 to CN in 2025. Looking at the zoning map, you see to the north, it's the institutional zone, which is Erlanger Hospital. To the west is medical offices associated with the medical mall area, if you will. And to the east of the site is CMU2. And to the south is a mixture of institutional, CNT, and CN, and then further south is RN3. But primarily, this is a medical complex, medical office area. Here's a view of what's happening. The land uses, again, you have Erlanger Hospital to the north. To the west is a medical office. To the south is vacant land and institutional uses. And to the east is medical office / uses. Here's a view of the site. They're remodeling this building. And then again, the part of the back, they want to have a drive-through pharmacy. It's a view of the site. This is north of the site. Again, you see Erlanger. This is south of the site, some of the medical office and the single-family dwellings. This is east of the site on 4th Street. The site's just to the left. This is west of the site, which is a medical office. This is in the downtown plan, which is from 2005. There really is no land use plan recommendation in that downtown plan other than it says fully integrate Erlanger Medical Center into the surrounding neighborhoods. Plan Chattanooga, we did look at that, and that recommends this area to be a mixed-use corridor. Here's the site plan. You can see it's the existing building. To the north is East 3rd Street. To the back is East 4th, and this back little corner in the red shaded dot area, that's where the drive-through pharmacy will be located in this remodel of the building. Because this is zone CN, a drive-through is not permitted in that zone, so they have to, that's why they're seeking the rezoning to go to CC. So we'll talk about what's going on here. This site again is between Erlanger and the Fort Wood residential neighborhood. Erlanger is directly to the north of this site, which is a 13-story medical tower. Fronting East 3rd Street are 1- and 2-story, 3-story medical office buildings. South of the site is a mixture of 1- and 2-story residential buildings and vacant lots. The site was previously zoned R4 and it was surrounded by R4. The new equivalency mapping, some of those was rezoned to institutional and some were rezoned to CN depending on what type of conditions were placed on that R4. The purpose of the CC zone is a commercial corridor zone. Its purpose is to accommodate commercial development along corridors, which is our old C2 zone, if you will. The standards and uses in that C2 or CC zone do not promote urban form, which is not in line with the 3rd Street medical health urban corridor. So staff is recommending to deny the CC request, but approve institutional. That makes more sense at this location because of the institutional uses that you would see along this corridor. Again, it's a medical office complex relating to that. So staff is recommending to deny the CC, but approve institutional. One of the things you'll see later on in today's agenda, the institutional zone does not allow drive-throughs. So we're recommending as one of our amendments to the zoning code to allow a drive-through as an accessory use to a primary use. For example, this could not be a standalone CVS or a Walgreens. If it was a medical office, you could have a drive-through for the pharmacy. So this amendment would fix the institutional zone to allow a drive-through pharmacy which is associated with a medical office. For example, Erlanger is a hospital, has a CVS inside. So it's not the primary use of a pharmacy, but the primary use is a medical office. So hopefully, depending on what this body does, it's recommend the institutional zone for this property, as well as adopting or recommending to adopt the amendment to the institutional zone to allow drive-throughs as an accessory use.
Thank you, Brian. Is that amendment to the ordinance drafted yet?
Yes, it's on today's agenda.
It's part of today's.
It'll be hopefully go through at the same time.
Okay, great. Any questions for staff on this one? Is the applicant? Yep.
Correct. It'll be
This-
both. It'll be, yes.
No,
Well,
it won't be the same vote.
Not
This-
it'll be later on.
This vote is just for the rezone. There will be a vote later at the end of the agenda under
Amendments.
ordinance changes, ordinance amendments.
They would not be able to do the drive-through. They can withdraw it at city council.
Or prior. Thank you, though. Good point. Is the applicant present? Maybe we can find out. Is there any opposition present? Okay. Are you good with the condition? You're good with the institutional zone? Great. Okay. What's the will of the commission?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion that's been properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. Next case, 2026-0017, it's 7710 Hickson Pike.
This is an unincorporated part of the county. This is a request to rezone from R2A, rural residential district, to C2, local business commercial district for outdoor equipment storage. It's roughly 0.17 acres in size. You look at the zoning map, there's been no zoning history for this sliver of property here in the middle. But you see the whole area is surrounded by a mixture of C2 and C3. There has been some zoning history on the budding properties. For example, this property to the east was rezoned from, I believe, in 1997 from C2 to C3 for mini warehouses. And this property to the south of the site was rezoned from R2A to C2 in 2018. Again, most of this was prior to Plan Hamilton. What you see in the area, there is precedent for commercial zoning at this location. It currently has a building on the property. To the north is commercial, to the south is commercial, mini warehouses. To the east is vacant land. I think they're storing some outdoor storage on that vacant land. To the west is warehousing, some commercial uses. It's a mixture of uses at this location. This is a view of the site. The site requests to be rezoned this little white building to the right. The building to the left is the applicant's property. It's already zoned C2. He's simply asking this C2 expand to include this little white building on the property. This is a view of the site itself. North of the site, which I believe is a former restaurant and some vacant commercial buildings. This is south of the site looking towards Gold Point Circle. You see some mixture of commercial and warehousing uses. West of the site, some outdoor storage uses. And then this is Hickson Pike looking toward the north, towards Lakeside. This property is in Plan Hamilton, which is adopted by the Planning Commission in 2025. It has not been adopted by the County Commission at this time. The RPA and Planning Commission is using the plan for reviewing zoning cases. This place type recommendation is resort recreation, which the predominant uses are campgrounds, RV parks, hotels, cabins, restaurants, marinas, camp stores, golf course, agriculture-related uses. It does have limited uses of single unit housing, detached and attached, reception facilities, as long as they're integrated into the resort. So again, this is a resort recreation place type. Here's a closer view. That site is sitting right here in the middle under that place type recommendation of resort recreation. Here's the site plan submitted with the request. Again, it's just utilizing that existing building on the property. So this request is compatible with adjacent land uses and adjacent zoning and the development form of the area. It would be an extension of existing zone. The C2 zone permits a variety of land uses that are recommended by the resort and recreation place type, including retail restaurants and cafes, farm stands, community swimming pools, etc. But it does have uses that would not be compatible with the resort recreation. So staff is recommending to approve with conditions. Those conditions are prohibiting the following: automobile service stations, automobile display rooms, parking lots or storage garages, used car lots, automobile wrecker service, tanks for the commercial retail distribution of flammable liquids or gases, off-premise signs, adult-oriented establishments, and car wash, auto wash uses are prohibited. The intention behind that condition is, again, limiting out some of those uses that the resort recreation does not envision at this location. So it comes to you with a recommendation to approve without list of prohibited uses.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions for staff? Is the applicant present? Is there opposition present? Applicant, are you good with the conditions?
Yeah, can I just verify?
Sure, if you want, come up to the podium, yeah. If anything other than a simple yes, yeah. Please state your name and address for the record first.
My name is Robert Chuba. I'm part owner of the Middle Valley Power Equipment. Address is 7710 Hickson Pike. What we've done is we've moved in there and took the old Blaylock building, music building, and turned it into a Toro mower, right mower, 2-cycle business. The building we're going to use as far as we're going to use it for a service to service 2-cycle engine stuff. So it's not going to be any kind of storage or anything like that, just for the homeowners in the community to bring their 2-cycle stuff to us so we can service it for them to get back for use for them. So there's not going to be any kind of storage or anything like that. It's just going to be a service building, more or less. That's all.
All right, and for the conditions laid out, and it's all in number 1. You can see it on the screen there. There's nothing there that you would object to.
No, sir.
All right.
I just wanted to verify that it's not going to be a storage or anything like that. It's going to be more of a service area for the mowers and 2-cycle stuff.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion that's been properly seconded.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Yes. Yeah, discussion on the
Thank you, Mr.
motion.
Chairman. Quick question for staff. Mr. Schultz, based on what he's saying, would that be able to work in the zone as y'all have it planned with those conditions?
Yes, I believe so. I'm not seeing anything that would prohibit it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, it looks different. All right, we have a motion that's been properly seconded. Any further discussion from the commission? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next case, 2026-0018, 4300 Dodds Avenue.
This is a request to rezone from RN2 Residential Neighborhood Zone to CR Regional Commercial Zone. Proposed use is commercial use, or more detailed would be like auto repair, auto sales at this location. It's a small lot. It's 0.10 acres in size. This site was equivalency mapped from R2 to RN2 in 2025. Looking at the zoning map, to the north across East 43rd Street is RN15. And to the west is, I believe it's RN2. And to the south, you do have CC abutting this property. And you have some hit or miss, not hit or miss, but occasionally some scattered of CC to the south. It's not a concentration of commercial around this node, if you will. Here's an aerial view of what's happening. It appears to be at some point when this aerial picture was taken, some cars being stored on this property. To the north is single unit detached. To the east is single unit detached residential. To the south is commercial. And to the west is institutional uses. Here's a view of the site from Dodds Avenue. This is north of the site. You can see on the right-hand side, that's the site. You can see there's a mixture of uses in this location. This is west of the site, which is a church. This is looking down Dodds Avenue. You see a mixture of uses here from commercial to single family. This property is in a Rossville Boulevard plan, which was adopted in 2002, and it recommends light business mix, which is really neighborhood commercial type uses, office zone, limited residential. So a very low scale, low intensity commercial uses and zone at this location. Come back to that. The requested CR regional commercial zone is not supported by at this location by the adopted Rossville Boulevard plan, which again supports light intensity business zones like what used to be our C5 or CN zone. The CR zone is more compatible with adjacent, is not compatible with adjacent residential land uses of the area. This zone permits more auto-oriented, intense commercial uses such as car washes, gas stations, reception facilities, live entertainment venues, and indoor-outdoor storage. Again, the CR zone permits more intense development than what exists in this area. The CR zone has a maximum height of 55 feet, which is 20 foot taller than the 35-foot maximum in the RN2. This zone does also not have a maximum building coverage requirement like residential zones, so we'll permit a larger mass building. Just some notes on this. The use of a vehicle repair facility, this appears to be an illegal non-conforming use in the RN2 zone, which does not allow the Rossville Boulevard plan. I checked from Google Earth and went back to 2013. This has been zoned RN2 for many, many years. And based on the tax assessor's records, since 1960, some type of commercial building has been on this property. But using Google Earth to go back since 2013, there's been some type of car repair, truck repair, something happening on this property, which I don't believe was legally permitted in RN2 zone. So some type of legal use has been going on for many, many years on this property. The CNT zone is more of a transition zone that'd be more appropriate at this location. However, it does not permit an existing auto-oriented use. The CNT zone has a 20-foot landscape buffer. You can see this is a very narrow lot, only 53 feet wide. If you put a CR zone there, that requires I think it's a 20-foot landscape buffer. It'd be difficult to bring this site into compliance with the zoning code. There was a zoning violation sent to this property owner back in, I think it was 2025 of November. They did receive a zoning verification letter that the use is not permitted in that zone. They also received a zoning violation letter in 2022. As this was an auto wrecking yard, they did not meet the screening requirements of the zoning because there's been some history in this property. So just based on that, looking at the CR zone and what's required to bring this into zoning compliance, and the CR zone does not comply with the land use plan, staff recommended to deny this request for CR at this location. Again, CNT seemed to be more appropriate, but it would not allow this use at this location.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You said in 2022, they got a notice saying the zoning was in violation of what they were doing?
They got a
No,
zoning screening. They had to screen it.
And just to clarify, it was November 2025, is that correct?
Yes, Chris, it's,
I thought 22 was a screen,
Sorry.
25 was a zoning.
May 11, 2022, they received a letter that they were using this size auto wrecking yard, and that required a landscape buffer. So
I
they did
guess what
not.
I'm asking you, if all it needed was a landscape buffer to be in compliance, why would we send them a note telling them to do a landscape buffer instead of telling them in 22 they weren't complying?
Well, first of all, this came from codes enforcement, so I'm assuming somebody submitted a code violation. Codes enforcement went out and determined you're using this as auto wrecking yard, you have to screen it. They didn't look necessarily at that use to make sure that use is permitted. They looked strictly at, are
So
you
they said that you're
compliant?
not screened. They didn't dig any deeper and say,
I don't think so.
You'd be screening something that's illegal anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That's my guess. I can't answer for them, but if you go back again, that's why I said I went back to 2013. There's been some type of, something going on there. Then in 2025, for some reason, they reached out in November 2025 to get a zoning verification there. That's when it came back. Your use is not allowed in that zone. So I don't know if they ceased operations since 2022 and then tried to come back in. Maybe the applicant can speak to that.
You good, Commissioner Payne? Any other questions for staff from the commissioners? Is the applicant present? Can you please come to the podium? And is there opposition present today? Okay.
Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Carlos, and what happened is
Can you state your, again, your name and address for the record, please?
4300 Dot Avenue.
Thank
My
you.
name is Carlos. What happened is I've been renting the place for a long time, and Mr. Charles is the owner. So I keep up with the place, and I take him the money for the rent. And the guys, decide to move out. So I see that the place, was like kind of messy. So we get notification about the messy place. So that we make them move out, and then we clean the property, we fix the fence, and paint the building, make it look nice. And then later on, I talk to the owner and I tell him that this is, he like, you can do anything that you have to do with cars. And then I decide to put money into the building. And I was don't know that we have to get it rezoning to do car lot. So I start doing everything, and I buy the license from the state. But later on, when I come to the city, they're like, oh, there is a problem with the zoning. So that's why I'm here now, So it was not to my knowledge. I don't know. It's my first time trying to apply for a car lot license. So that's why I'm here now.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the applicant from the commission? Okay, thank you, sir. You can sit down.
Okay.
What is the will of the commission? I think maybe discussion on this from your faces.
I don't know if he's operating today. I don't know. We originally had thought about deferring, let him meet with LDO to see what he had to do to bring this into compliance, to meet all the zoning code in terms of landscape buffer. It's going to be a challenge. It's a small site. To do the car automobile repair, it's got to be rezoned to a different zone. And that only zone now would be the CR zone. We looked at a CNT zone made more sense for the plan to be at this location, but again, it doesn't allow automobile repair. It's a less buffer because it abuts residential to the east and to the north.
Mr. Chicken? Yes.
I feel like this is not a smart question, Brian, but we're not permitted to amend CNT to allow for whatever automotive cause he's trying to do here.
You could recommend that we come back with an amendment to that, but that opens up all of our neighborhood type transition. They're supposed to be near residential neighborhoods. I don't think you'd want that amendment to allow used car lots near neighborhoods.
Yeah, the challenge is I don't see any opposition here, and no, but I understand that it sets a weird precedent. So.
And we did discuss this as staff for a long time. It's a challenge because something's been happening there off and on since 2013 illegally because the zone never allowed that use to start with.
Councilwoman Burrs.
So you mentioned something about suggesting that the applicant meet with LDO to see if they can get creative with how they might be able to come up with a solution to operate. Like, is there any, without looking at the charter, is there any special exceptions?
No,
Okay.
I think when we backed off of that because I think what you go through LDO, they're going to say you got to get it rezoned. So we'll be back here anyway.
And then
Rezoning.
would I think LDO might meet with him to say, these are what the things you need to do to make it compliant, but it still wouldn't fit into the zone.
No, ma'am. I think that's what
Okay.
we looked at was like, we originally thought that, well, no, they're going to tell them the same thing. You have to rezone. If you got the zone, could you even make this site comply with landscape buffer? You could always try to get variances to that landscape buffer, but that's going to be a challenge.
Sounds like the use is the biggest challenge.
But use is the biggest challenge right now.
So on the
Yeah.
context map, I'm seeing another lot to the south at CC. It looks to be very similar, and I'm just curious.
That would have been C2 at the time. And CC now does not allow used car lots repairing.
Right.
I don't,
So
sure, that may be.
CR is the only,
It's a grocery store. This CC is a grocery store
CR is the only place we allow auto repair.
and industrial zones.
I
Because we're
mean,
trying to move away from our CCs, typically what you see around our corridors, trying to move away from
right.
that.
I'm thinking for these older, more urban neighborhoods before you started seeing so many of these kind of strip mall style corridors, you know, East Chattanooga, the Highland Park area, that whole side of town really is this old grid pattern that these people also need a place to get their car repaired. And so I'm wondering, if we think more broadly about this, there might need to be another zone where auto repair is allowed. To your point, I'm not sure CNT is the right spot for that, but maybe CC, and there's already precedent for CC in this area. That's a much broader conversation though. Yeah, changing the zoning code to make an allowed use for auto repair in CC and maybe, you know, maybe putting some stipulations around it so that in CC, you're talking about a small auto repair shop, not this kind of sprawling auto yard. But that's going to take a lot of thought. I don't think that's something we're going to work out.
I think so. And I think this challenge still, this, the way this lot is such a small lot, it's going to be hard, I think, to comply with landscape buffering requirements. Board of Appeals could, if they so choose.
You're just saying the landscape buffer between
If you look at the
commercial-
zoning map,
commercial and residential next to it. is
yes,
what
that's only a 50, I think it's 53-foot wide.
And that refers, that applies regardless of the use.
Yes, it'd be the zone.
And just a reminder, a legal non-conforming use can continue. So we do have a lot of legal non-conforming, small kind of mom and pop auto repair stores in the urban area. And those can continue based on state law that allows them to continue even when zoning changes. I think we were not, generally the plan was to not introduce new ones because this one is an illegally non-conforming use. It wouldn't be able to be continued. But we have had discussion about auto-oriented uses in that commercial corridor because.
And I think, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud, the difference in my mind is that I hear auto-oriented use, I hear drive-through, I hear strip mall, I hear giant parking lot, but it's possible to do a small auto repair shop that from the street. I mean, you'll see a lot of parked cars behind a fence, but it's not the same intensity, I suppose, that might be more appropriate away from kind of the typical auto-oriented corridor.
We can look and maybe come back next month with some ideas. I think that, conditions are intended to do kind of impact of noise and activity. And so the combination of buffer and the noise and activity would be something that we would need to think about what's going on and hours of operation and all of that. We can come back with some ideas and discuss them next month.
Commissioner Highlander, then Commissioner Adamson.
Just very briefly, my heart goes out to the gentleman. I think he has a good plan. It's needed, yet I don't think this lot is compliant with the need. I think we should deny, but my heart does go out to him. I would make the motion to, if you want to defer, that's fine, but otherwise deny.
Are you making a motion or are you waiting to make one?
I'm waiting to see what my
Okay.
cohort of Adamson has to say.
All
Then-
right, Commissioner Adamson.
Mine's really just a matter of understanding the letters of complaint or violations. Typically, those go to the owner of the land, correct? Not the tenant.
Yeah, and in 2022, it went to Charles White.
Okay, and then November of 2025 as well.
This the applicant asked for, that was a zoning verification letter.
I gotcha. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Adamson. Commissioner Highlander, do you have a motion to make?
I will make the motion to defer it for 30 days to give him a chance to be in compliance.
That sounds good. We have a motion to defer for 30 days that's been properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Moving on to case 2026-0020 at the 100 block of Lynchburg Street.
Yeah, this is a request to rezone from RN2 residential neighborhood zone to TRN1 traditional residential neighborhood zone. Proposed use is multi-unit residential. It's roughly 0.4 acres in size. Number of units proposed is 12 units. That's a density of 25 dwelling units per acre. This site again was equivalency map from R2 to RN2 in 2025. Looking at the map, everything abutting this property is RN2. To the north, you do have IH, but everything around this property is RN2. One of the lots is vacant, and the lot to the south looks like it has a structure, single-family dwelling on the two lots. This is 134 and 138, an undressed property in 100 block of Lynchburg Street. To the east is 2-unit residential and single-unit residential on vacant land. To the north and west, and to the south, this is a storage tank. There are some slope issues on this property. For the most part, it's relatively flat going to the east, but you get to this property, it slopes uphill. Here's the view of the site. Another view of the site. This is east of the site, single-family dwelling. This is Lynchburg Street. This is in Alton Park. Again, one of our older plans from 2000. It recommends single-family residential for this property. Here's the closer view of that. You can see here's Lynchburg dead ends to Hawkins Ridge. And it recommends single-family dwellings. Here's a site plan submitted with this request. On the south, it has two lots. That'll be 4 dwellings each, and then one lot to the north will be 4 units. It's a total of 12. The proposal for multi-unit residential is not compatible with a single-family detached neighborhood, 12 units as being proposed. This request would introduce a different housing form and higher density along Lynchburg Avenue, which dead ends. The site can be, as presently zoned, constructed with single-unit detached residential dwelling with an ADU. So you got 3 lots, you get basically 6 housing units on this property. The Transportation Division looked at this proposed driveway and parking area. It does not meet city code. There is not sufficient public infrastructure to support emergency services at the dead end. Also, single unit and 2-unit developments would not be required to meet the street improvement turnaround requirements based on section 3853. That does require turnarounds and driveways so drivers are not backing out into the roads. That does not apply to single unit, but it would apply to multi-unit. So based on not complying with the land use plan and the issues with the infrastructure, staff recommended to deny this request.
All right. Any questions for staff from the commission? Yes. Commissioner Byrd.
This, and I know this is from Transportation Division, so we might have to wait for an answer on this, but it's in the proposed. There's not sufficient public infrastructure to support emergency services, and I'm curious, in the staff report in our packet. Oh, this one dead. To construct multi-unit residential dwellings, the applicant would be responsible for street improvements and a turnaround. I'm just curious. The lack of public infrastructure for emergency services, would that prevent anything additional from being built?
I believe
on the
that's
street
turnaround.
Or just rezoning properties? I'm just curious.
I
how far that-
can answer for the I can answer for the Transportation Division what they mean by that. As of right now, the way they said, basically the way that's designed, because it's multi-unit, there's not a turnaround for emergency services. I think that's going to happen no matter what happens there perhaps. But I don't want to say it's 100% what their thinking was.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Commissioner
Is the
Highlander.
fire marshal, would he approve this?
I can't speak to fire marshal. He'll have to review it for plans when it comes in for single unit and multi-unit. But as of right now, if it's multi-unit, that is allowing cars to back out into the road, which is not permitted based on the zoning code and the transportation code of the city code.
And a fire engine or an ambulance would be in.
They would just order to turn around. They'll have to
Yeah,
back all the
would
way
not be-
down.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, I do have a question. What are garbage trucks doing now? Because I know that this street is platted and has lots on it, and garbage trucks are wider than fire
I
trucks.
assume they're backing
Okay, that's what I figured.
or turn wherever they can turn around through there perhaps.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Zeka, you want to come forward, name and address on this one? Is there any opposition on this? Anyone here in opposition on this case? Okay.
Zach Has with Chattanooga Engineering Group, 310 Nye Drive. I am also here with the property owner, Mr. Patterson. This proposed rezone provides more density in the area. We believe this is an area of town where it hasn't seen a whole lot going on recently. The developer here is willing to invest in this area. Is willing to provide housing options that will fulfill a need in the community. We also have what we believe to be the support from the Councilwoman Dotley in the area. And yeah, that's the plan we came up, how to use the property, how to access, how to park it. We are in compliance with the proposed zone and we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? All right, seeing none, no questions for applicants or staff, so I bet everybody wants to make a motion. What's the will of the commission?
I make the motion to deny and follow the recommendation of the staff.
Do we have a second? That motion fails for lack of a second.
May I make a comment?
Absolutely.
I had a cousin that had was in a similar apartment complex in Georgia, could not get the fire engine in the second floor. She jumped out, broke both of her legs. Her daughter did not and burned to death. And I guess maybe I'm a little bit emotional about fire safety. So that's the reason for my.
I have a question again, process-wise.
Yeah, Commissioner
This
Payne.
goes back to what I guess Commissioner Highlander was asking a minute ago. So if we approve this, but then the fire marshal denies it, I mean, it still has to go through fire marshal and he could say, hey, we don't care what the planning commission said, we're not letting you do this. Is that
That's
accurate?
correct. Even if it was already zoned, Barry, this zone and this use was proposed, yes, it would still go through the same land disturbing and building permit review for fire and life safety and transportation and access
So
and
the
all those
professionals
things.
have to look at it and say, hey, this will work or it won't work, no matter in terms of.
No
how
matter
do we-
what.
Okay.
Good point. Good point.
What's the will of the commission? Commissioner Byrd?
So when we were working through this new zoning code, there was a lot of talk about missing middle and the appropriateness of a multifamily that can kind of appear as a single family, appear architecturally compatible, same scale, similar architectural format. And we decided to put those in these TRN zones. Other than the transportation concerns, this seems like an interesting case where we're doing an incremental upzone and allowing a few more units. It'll still be architecturally compatible with the rest of the neighborhood. So I'm supportive generally, but I really do want to hear from transportation. And that's a whole nother can of worms. I'm not even sure if we want to discuss here. So
Well, without them here, I don't think anybody would want to give transportation's view on this. I do concur with you that after I spent 3 years on this, and this is exactly the type of neighborhood we created the TRN zones for.
Right.
Older, more established neighborhoods that had smaller lots.
I'm torn between moving to approve and moving to defer and asking transportation to appear here next month.
I'll remind you that if we approve today, it goes to City Council and Councilwoman Dotley will have it in her purview at that point. Okay, Councilwoman Burrs.
Hi, sir. I apologize for missing the first part of your presentation, but have you met with Councilwoman Dotley? I know you have two cases, at least two cases in District 7. Have you all met?
Yeah, we've
Okay.
met with her. I believe Mr. Patterson, he was the one that conducted that conversation, can maybe speak more of that, but my understanding that we have her support on this.
But there's still some concerns that might need to be worked through.
What did she mention, any concern?
Can you please come to the podium and state your name and address, sir?
Dan Peterson, and yes, he wanted the improvement of the area, like bring something new other than single family.
Yeah, no doubt we need the housing. I would agree with that. And again, my apologies for missing the concerns. There were concerns of the fire marshal. Is that?
There were concerned about
Traffic
from
and fire marshal,
transportation
yeah,
about access to the seat. The fire marshal
Okay.
has not weighed in. Well, we're not in that staff report. And this does seem like I've seen her approve projects like this.
Yeah. I would be in favor of a deferral too, just to allow time for that conversation to be had.
Is that a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to defer for 30 days.
Right. Thank you. The motion's been properly seconded to defer for 30 days. Any discussion on that motion? Yes, Mr. Maybe, Commissioner Maybe?
I guess I just want to make sure we're clear to the applicant of what we're asking to accomplish in that 30 days. Thank you.
Could we also ask transportation and maybe fire to have representatives here?
I will ask Public Works and Fire to have somebody here next month.
So, sir, you understand why we asked to defer it?
Yes, is it also recommended for us to engage in conversations with that department and brief them on what we're trying to do, present the plan, show movements of vehicles and such things?
Mr. Chairman, can staff, you may want to schedule a pre-submittal meeting with LDO.
I think that
I
would
think
be a
it'd be
great
good.
idea. And Zeki, you know how to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, Brian. In the meantime, I will speak to both of those departments about having someone here at the next meeting to answer questions.
Thank you.
All right, so I do have a motion on the floor to defer 30 days. It has been properly seconded. Is there any further discussion before we vote? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. Our last case on new business, 2026-0022, 706, 708, and unaddressed 700 block of North Greenwood Avenue.
This is a request to rezone from RN15 residential neighborhood zone to RN13 residential neighborhood zone for single unit detached residential. It's 0.17 acres in size. Number of units proposed are 2. That's a density of 11.8 dwelling units per acre. There's been no zoning history on this piece of property. Right now, it's one lot in the middle, and the 2 lots on the outside are part of lots. So it's really one lot, but the other 2 lots are just slivers of remainder of lot. That's why he cannot subdivide into 2 lots, because he wouldn't meet the minimum lot size of the current zoning. This is a vacant piece of property. Everything abutting this property is single unit residential. Here's a view of the site. North of the site, south of the site, again, single family dwellings. This is west of the site, single family dwellings. It's in the Area 3 Historic River to Ridge Plan, which recommends, adopted in 2020, which recommends single family residential, urban residential single family overlay, which is primarily single family detached dwellings. Here's a closer view of that place type recommendation. Here's the site plan submitted with the request. It's 2 lots, 40-foot lot width, and lot size is roughly over 3,000 square feet. Again, this property is currently 1 existing lot, with the remaining property being parts of existing lots. The total lot frontage is 80 foot. The minimum required in RN5 is 50 feet, or the average block face, whichever is less. The average lots on either side are 60 and 40. So based on the current zoning, he could not subdivide. But the RN3 zone permits a minimum lot frontage of 25 feet. approving RN13 at this location will allow the property to be re-subdivided and create 2 lots. As the RN13 zone only permits single family, no need for conditions. So staff recommends to approve this request.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions for staff? Is the applicant present? Is there opposition present? What's the will of the commission?
Second.
We have a motion to approve that's been properly seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. That concludes new business today. We're going to move on to mandatory referrals. Case number MR 2026-0023, 4000 block of Cromwell Road.
Yeah, this is a request to abandon an unopened right-of-way that exists on the old former TDOT building that's now owned by Hamilton County for their Public Works Transportation Department. The purpose is to abandon this little right-of-way that doesn't connect to anything and to combine the property into one lot. Here's the aerial view of the facility that's there, and you see this right-of-way pretty much abuts the railroad right-of-way. So staff recommended to approve this closure and abandonment. It does meet the right-of-way closure and abandonment policy.
I have a premature motion to approve and a second. That's okay. Just giving you a hard time. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. Brian, case number MR 2026-0024, 7500 block of Volkswagen Drive.
Sure. This is a mandatory referral for acquisition of private property. I think this property is owned by the Chattanooga or Cherokee Boy Scouts Association. It's zoned IH. The purpose of this property is for the city and county to own it, I think for future use. The site was zoned M1. It's equivalency map to IH. Here's the property. You can see everything abutting this is parks and open space. It's abutting I-75 Old Lee Highway. Here's a view of the site. Here's a site plan submitted the request. The city would be purchasing this property here from the Boy Scouts. Staff finds the acquisition of private property does not negatively impact the health, safety, and well-being of the public and recommend to approve. We did receive one email in opposition to this acquisition.
Okay. I will say, I do know that the plan for the city is, the purchase is intended to preserve it.
Okay.
That's the purchase. Well, we have an applicant here. Is there any opposition present? You're the opposition. Okay, I'm sorry.
I didn't email. I wasn't speaking.
Okay, is the applicant present? Well, yes. Do you want to say anything? Okay, you can go after him. All right, sir, please come up, state your name and address for the record. You have up to 7 minutes.
Nathan Griffin, 5500 Hidden Oaks Lane. Good afternoon. I am with the organization Save Enterprise South Nature Park. I first became aware of the county's interest in this property through an email exchange from October 2025 with the county's Public Works and Engineering Department, as well as the county mayor and staff. The subject line of that exchange was ESIP, Enterprise South Industrial Park - McDonald Farm - land swap - appraisals. That email chain appeared to directly tie this property to the previously proposed land exchange that was being discussed at that time between McDonald Farm and Enterprise South Nature Park. As an organization whose core mission it is to uphold the federal deed language requiring that Enterprise South Nature Park remain in perpetuity, this raised immediate concern, particularly that this property could be used in conjunction with a future land swap involving Enterprise South Nature Park, as the county administrator of Public Works and Engineering noted that, and I quote, "The property would have more value for the city county as the adjacent property owners since it's landlocked, currently no access frontage." First and foremost, we are seeking clear assurance that this property acquisition will not be used now or in the future for any land exchange involving Enterprise South Nature Park. If you're truly acquiring it for green space, any such land swap is not necessary. We also have concerns about the inconsistencies in the documentation for this body. In the RPA application, the proposed future use of the property is listed as to be determined. That also raises the question, why are taxpayer funds being used to acquire property without a defined purpose? Additionally, the application's adjacent uses section lists railroad, vacant land, and Interstate 75, but notably omits Enterprise South Nature Park, which surrounds this parcel more than 50%. That omission is concerning given the context and sensitivity of the adjacent parkland. Further, the Planning Commission staff report does state that if attained, the property would be utilized as green space. We would just like clarification on that how that determination was made and through what process. If the true intent is green space, then an additional question also follows, will there be a formal plan to rezone the property from its current IH and RN16 zoning to open space? Without that, this acquisition remains unclear to its purpose of being green space. Finally, while it appears to me that the county initially expressed interest in this property, it appears that the city is taking lead. To better understand the situation, I did submit an opens records request to the city on January 11th. As of today, 29 days later, 20 business days, that request remains pending. Given the history and the context, transparency is essential. We respectfully ask for clarity and assurance that this acquisition will not be used in ways that undermine the permanently protected public land before it is approved by this body. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the opposition? Commissioner Maybe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not for the opposition, but I guess I do have a question for staff, if I may.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Schultz, I'm sure you hit on this, and if I missed it, I apologize. Can you remind us what IH is and what is allowed in that zone as is, please?
It's the heavy industrial zone.
So right now, the property owner can develop that as heavy industrial is what is that?
Yeah,
is
it's
that-
zoned IH.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay.
It had been that way under the previous zoning as well.
It would have been M1.
M1.
Yeah.
Which allows pretty much anything.
Slaughterhouses, tanneries.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the worst, yeah.
So it's equivalency mapped to IH, which is our new old M1 zone, if you will.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Schultz.
Good.
Yeah, we just want to
Commissioner-
clarify, it is landlocked as well.
I understand, sir. You've taken your time. If there's a question for you, this is the time when the planning commission deliberates. They'll direct a question to you if they have one. Yes, sir, Commissioner Highlander.
For staff, if I may, sir,
Yes.
is there any way we could restrict this to green space natural use?
You could recommend a condition.
I would recommend that it be used for green space natural conditions. But that's just a recommendation. I don't know if anyone wants to follow with me or not.
I have a question first.
The Councilwoman Burrs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Robinson, would you come forward, please? I have a question.
Erica Robinson, City of Chattanooga, real property, 101 East 11th Street.
Thank you for being here. Why, in the application, why would it not include a request to rezone it to open spaces property if the intent is for it to be green space?
At this time, I'm just representing the applicant. I don't know the specific designated use as of right now.
I could
with
probably speak
regards
to
the
that
pub-
too.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We don't own it and would not have the right to apply for a rezone on property we don't own. We're not authorized by the property owner to apply for a rezone. So I imagine that would prevent us from doing that and having to do it in 2 steps.
Okay, so in order for it to be that, the property owner would have to rezone it and then sell it to you.
Right, which would make no sense for them. They would
Right.
sell it to us and then we would do the work.
Okay. I would be in favor of a motion to approve with the condition that it remains a natural green space.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve with a condition that it remains green space. It has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I have a question.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Payne.
I understand the intent of the opposition, but is there, like, if we do that, could they do things like, I know like at Enterprise right now, there's Frisbee golf courses, there's mountain biking, there's a lot of uses would that be green space or is it limited? But what are we doing when we say limited to whatever we just limited it to? Are we Xing out other things that the community may want? Or are we just saying it's just like it is right now? That's all we can do to it.
I will defer to Councilwoman Burrs for the intent of her condition.
So my intent is to prohibit any type of development on the property until the city can decide what he wants to do with it. And then they would have to come back and request a rezone to open space or something that would be proper for it to be a park, for it to be
So whatever. they
Frisbee
want to do,
golf,
they have to
hiking
come back to
trails.
us Anyway, so.
That would be my intent. So I guess I will throw that to staff to say, is my motion correct in protecting it in that regard until the city decides what it wants to
I
do
think
with it?
so. I want to be clear too. This mandatory referral is just giving the city council, if the city council approves that, the ability to go ahead and purchase the property. If that purchase fails, that condition doesn't hold. It's still zoned IH and somebody could develop it industrial use. Just be clear for the record, that could happen. But yes, I think ideally you'd come back, do a zoning, say to rezone that property to open space,
Okay.
if that's the intention.
We can be clear in the planning commission resolution to that there's a recommendation to pursue, for the city to pursue rezoning to the parks and open space zone, and that can be part of the materials and presentation to council also.
I think that'd be helpful, Karen, and Barry, to answer your question more directly. If that, if it's tied to a zone when defining what green space is, there are certain things you can construct and certain things you can't. There are things you can do, things you can't. And they're of a pretty passive nature that you can do. You can't build a massive building on it. Right. Recreation and like nature based. Yeah. All right. So I've got a motion on the floor that's been explained and properly seconded. So is there any other discussion from the commission? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you for that collaboration. Final mandatory referral case, MR 2026-0026, 332 East MLK Boulevard.
Yeah, I'll make this real short and sweet here. This one is to lease office space in the current Small Business Resource Center because they're leasing a small office. It's a public building. Leases fall under the MR. Staff reviewed this. It's at 332 East MLK Boulevard. Here's the site plan submitted. They're using the office as well as all the facilities in that building. Staff recommends to approve this lease agreement.
Second.
Have a motion that's been properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Moving on to 4 resolutions and amendments. Number 1, Brian.
Let's see, the first resolution, this comes from the city attorney's office. There's been some changes in how the state defines adult-oriented establishments. Our zoning code uses the term adult use. The state law has changed that to adult-oriented establishments. So you can see on the screen, we're simply amending the land use table to change adult use with adult-oriented establishment.
Have a motion that's been properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Brian, number 2.
Number 2 is tied to that case we just talked about earlier today for the institutional zone for the property across from Erlanger. This is to amend the land use table by adding a P under the drive-through facility as accessory use for institutional zones.
Have a motion that's been properly seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. And a prior applicant has her answer. Moving on, number 3, please.
Number 3, there was a recent state law change. I guess last year, actually, it was buried in some other state law legislation. The city attorney picked up on it. For zoning cases that go in front of the city council, you have to give 21 days notice instead of 15 days notice. So this is cleaning up the zoning code to change it for the city of Chattanooga. Anytime you have a public notice for city cases, that has to be 21 days. So we're changing the zoning code from 15 to 21 days.
Just to comply with state.
Just to comply with state law. We're also adding in this amendment, just to be clear. RPA gives signs for folks to post on property being rezoned. This section also has signage for LDO, for form-based code and Board of Appeals. They've had issues where signs go up and it's not really clear where applicants put the signs. So we're adding LDO and Public Works or form-based code to this amendment. So it's clear they have to follow the same posting requirements.
Have a motion that's been properly seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Number 4.
Mr. Chairman, 4 and 5 are the same. Basically, one's for Lakeside and one's for Ridgeside. That's the same thing, changing 15 days to 21 days public notice.
Okay, and just to clarify, this is a move to approve on number 4 only. Is that correct? We can only do one at a time. Is that correct, Commissioner Payne? Thank you very much. Motion's been properly made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Do I have a motion on number 5? We have a motion that's been properly seconded on item 5. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Brian, we're to staff updates.
Sure.
I believe you have 2 items for that. And
Yeah,
we
it's not
also
on your.
had someone who wanted to speak about staff updates, and Ms. Helton, you can come up and speak right after Brian.
Okay, sure. I'm not going to talk about one right now. It's not on your agenda, but for those watching and who's left in the room, we put our applications on the website and we've been getting scams Scammers have been getting our information off our website and sending fake um, invoices to applicants. They look pretty real. We have now since changed that. We redact all the applicants' information on our applications and post it to the website. We had one about 2 months ago that came from Councilwoman Chair Hill. It looked really legit with the logos and stuff. So fortunately, our applicants have caught on that our fees are really low and the fee they're asking for is extremely high through wire funds, they've called it. We've taken steps to redact and put on our counter examples of what those letters look like. We'll never at RPA send you an email or a letter invoice. And if you do have questions about that, feel free to email us or don't pay until you reach out to us. It's happening everywhere. It's just not Chattanooga. I think APA had an article on this maybe last month about how this is happening across the country. Things is tricky because you want to share public information, but you have the bad side of that too, or people getting information. So if anybody has any questions about a fee, additional fee you get from RPA, please reach out to us and we'll confirm if it's real or not.
Let's,
Did you get one? Well, we thought we fixed it on our end. And matter of fact, when the one came out from Chairman Hill, I was like, well, how are they getting the city council? Well, we realized their agenda is online too. And we just got one last month with the county. We're doing the same thing, redacting all the information. So they look very legit.
if you could send those to me, we may do something in our office about it too.
I think Councilman Leffert has had some, well, former Councilman Leffert has had some information with us. We're getting there with it.
Can you forward the letters
will.
to me also?
We will.
Thank you.
Mr.
Commissioner Byrd. Oh, sorry, Karen.
No, I was on the next item. If I
Okay.
could speak first. and then-
Commissioner Byrd.
Quick question about this. So as a neighborhood association president, we use those applications and that contact information to reach out to applicants to say, hey, would you like to come present at our next meeting? Those get sent to us by neighborhood services. Like it's this whole chain of communication that I'm worried is going to become a lot more complicated.
Email us. What happens, the Time Street Press would get that information too, and reach out to what they do. They just email me and I'll share the information with them.
Okay.
If you all need some information, we're glad to share it with you. We just don't want it on our website because that's scammers getting.
Right.
But,
Okay.
Yeah, if you need information, the applicant, it's public record. We can share that with you.
Okay, great. Just want to make sure I'm not going to have to go through a FOIA for all
No.
that because
No.
that will take
No.
longer than this process.
No, just reach out.
Thank you.
All right. Karen, I think you had the second item on staff updates and then we'll hear from the public.
Yes, and so if you are in the audience and don't have a handout, there's two up front if you're interested. The purpose of this is, I guess there's 3 or 4 items. We wanted to be clear by putting it on the agenda that we are discussing Hamilton County zoning regulations. We know there might be interest in that. And so we did kind of just specify so people could see. Wanted, before we got too involved in actually amending regulations, where this request is coming from, why staff would be taking action. Also, maybe just touch briefly on kind of what staff has already reviewed and some of the considerations we have, a general approach. And then I don't know that we need to get into the details. They're in the packet if anyone's interested. But just to let you know, we'll be coming back to next month with those draft items for review. And so the intention is just to be transparent, to kind of lay out everything we know. Brian did a great table kind of looking through, could we address needed changes through conditions? Could we, is it something we put in the subdivision regs? We kind of went through kind of a couple of thought things. So if I could just maybe turn it over to Nathan to just have a few minutes to kind of go through our thoughts, that would be great.
Wonderful. Commissioner Janeway.
Thank you, Chairman. So, as we know, Plan Hamilton was fairly contentious. It was a, countywide process that we went through for a couple of years. And, as opinions do, they got crossed at several junctures. And when it got to county commission, it was a close vote. And I think right now, the current atmosphere at county commission is that there's not a desire to bring the plan back up for discussion for multiple reasons. But I think there is a recognition by a majority of commissioners that there's a lot of work that went into the process and that there are a lot of good things in Plan Hamilton, whether you agree with the whole plan or not. I think most of the disagreement had to do with density and the mapping. And so I think my staff felt like we would like to get the parts of Plan Hamilton codified that did have agreement. And a lot of those items had to do with buffering and setback regulations that we would like to add to zoning code. And so this is a chance to take those items, put them in a resolution form, give this body the chance to deliberate, and then pass them on to county commission to give them a chance to also deliberate on those items that I feel like have more broad agreement than maybe the whole plan has at this time. This would give us a chance to put in things like green screening along major roadways to allow some more setbacks along major roadways. That way, if future expansion projects need to happen, there's land there to do it. We're not taking the fronts of people's yards. So again, I think this is a way to adopt the things that have more broad agreement and let the other items that don't have as broad agreement sit for a little longer to maybe build some more agreement around those items.
Thank you.
So just kind of moving to that, one of the things, just as a reminder, since Planning Commission adopted Plan Hamilton, there's a chart in there just showing the cases that have been in that incorporated county action by staff, Planning Commission, and the County Commission of Actions occurred. Just as a reminder, we have been using the plan. You'll see several of the recommendations came with approved with conditions. A lot of times those conditions are tending to make sure that the rezoning did meet the intent of the plan and the recommendations in Plan Hamilton. So some of the things we did, and it's in the table, we're not going to go into all the details, was to look at like the buffers and setbacks that Nathan mentioned. Could they be done through zoning conditions? Could we just handle it through conditions? So something that, because Planning Commission adopted it, we could just do it in subdivision regs, which is, the purview of Planning Commission. What about zoning ordinance changes? And so on page 3, there's items for consideration applicability. And one of those items that, if it's a zoning item, it should really be in zoning. If it is a, so really we don't want to put zoning regulations in subdivision, zoning standards and subdivision regulations. We also noted that Plan Hamilton does note what new standards apply to. There's a whole section in Plan Hamilton which basically says that Plan Hamilton does not limit development during platting for properties already zoned R1s or with PUDs. However, setback and buffering language should apply to new preliminary plats. And so we do have some standards that would apply to new rezoning. Some would apply to property already rezoned. So all these kind of went into a consideration. And just lastly, note that place types in Plan Hamilton are not zoning. So place types kind of can look and feel like zoning because it talks about land uses and might talk about how development looks, but place types are not zoning. So just to be very clear, it adds a little bit more nuance. And so the potential changes are trying to distill the table a little bit and it says Plan Hamilton. That is where it's coming from in the plan. And just as a reminder, the last 2 pages are excerpts from Plan Hamilton of the countryside and suburban residential, because we are trying to connect to the plan and implement some of those plan recommendations that Nathan spoke of. And so the potential changes generally are leaning towards zoning ordinance changes, particularly for the A1 and R1 districts. And so just to kind of show what Plan Hamilton says, the language there, and then potential changes. There are some notes. The note might be, for example, the rural corridor overlay or the floodplains, that we would need an image or a map to supplement that. And then we've talked about before for the steep slopes, there's a reference in Plan Hamilton to a steep slope vegetation policy. Because a lot of folks might not have looked at that for a while, there is a link to what that policy is in the City of Chattanooga zoning regulations, just to have something to reference when we're thinking about that. So if there if that sounds like the right approach, we would come back next month with implementing these changes. We've taken the draft that Nathan done. We've done some work on it ourselves, and we would come back with some draft amendments next month to implement these potential changes that we have in the document. So this is a working document. Sometimes when you go through, you realize there's a bit of a disconnect, but just to let folks know that's what's on our mind.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Any questions for staff on those items? All right, we can now have public comment on this item. Ms. Helton, please come to the podium if you wish and state your name and address for the record first.
Kim Helton, 8618 Snow Hill Road. So yes, we would like the buffering, the new floodplain language, things like that. But the density is what we have an issue with because this plan hasn't gone back to the county commission. I know that that was a subject that was covered when the planning commission did adopt the plan. And there were several questions asked about, will this be able to go back to the county commission for changes? And the answer was yes. So we feel like the plan is not actually finalized yet because it was supposed to go back to the county commission for adoption and changes, possible changes. So would request that the actual density that was changed in countryside residential is not added to the zoning regulations, but what, was agreed upon, the buffering, the floodplains. Of course, we didn't get what we want as a community. We wanted no floodplain development. We wanted more extended buffers, things like that. But there is at least some, and some is better than what we have now. So we would like to see that implemented, but we would not like to see the countryside residential density at this time. So that's just my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Helton. We now move on to public comments on non-agenda items. Is anyone wanting to speak on non-agenda items? Ms. Stanley Cash, please state your name and address again for the record.
Do I have to give my address?
Yes, ma'am.
District? Cynthia Stanley Cash, Ganasita, 37406. I just want clarity as far as early on. Commission, madam, you stated something with Brian about some kind of homes.
So Ms. Stanley Cash, I will remind you, this is for public comment. This is not a Q&A or a back and forth. You're free to say whatever
No,
you
I was
want.
going to say I missed what she said. I didn't hear her.
I understand.
And it was something else from Karen. Why are you so short?
I don't mean to be,
know
ma'am.
each
We
other,
have
but
the
I'm sorry
rules,
if I'm
ma'am.
being disrespected.
We have the rules. And
I
they're applicable to
understand.
everyone.
City council is the same way. City council is like dating where you just got her and get in and out. Respect residents, constituents. We pay 2 taxes. And I'm sorry if I'm being too strong right now. I don't know the rules and I will read them. Okay?
I was merely stating them, Ms. Stanley Cash. And if you want to speak to someone individually after the meeting, you're free to do so.
Agenda. I stayed 2 hours to wait on just this. So can I ask her after the meeting?
It is absolutely your right to do that. Yes. We haven't adjourned yet, Ms. Stanley Cash. As I said, we are in public comment on non-agenda items,
Well,
as I
want to
stated.
let her know. I want to ask her, what did she say after this meeting?
Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry.
All
I
right.
would have suggested that.
Chairman,
Yes,
may I ask a question?
yes,
Since it's public comment. I guess.
absolutely. You are a member of the public.
So while we're talking about amending the zoning regulations and the subdivision regulations, I did have a question about that process. Our office has noticed a couple of things in the subdivision regulations in particular that I don't know if maybe they haven't been updated in a long time or maybe weren't thought out on the process by which things could be handled. For instance, there's a provision where if someone violates a special permit, there's 3 entities that could revoke it: the county mayor, the health department, and the sheriff's office. But there's no method by which to do that. There's no procedure. There's no due process to the special permit holder. And so we would like to explore amending the subdivision regulations. I just need to know how you would like that to happen. Would you like me to draft it, get it with staff, and then get it on the agenda, or?
I think that's the proper procedure,
Okay.
Janie. Yeah.
I believe You're talking about the special permit in the zoning code.
Yes, sorry,
Yes.
if I said subdivision,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm not sure about that. It's the
It's been a
zoning
long
code.
day, sorry.
I hear you. Yeah, we've noted the same thing. We
Okay,
can get together if you want to and come up with.
excellent, thank you.
All right. I believe our next agenda item is approval of the planning commission minutes of January 12, 2026. Do I have a motion on those minutes?
So move.
I have a motion that's been properly seconded. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it and the minutes are approved. Are there any other motions from anybody?
Yes, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? We are adjourned.
You only missed it by 4 minutes.
I know, right?
I had wanted to make a public comment. I said I had wanted to make a public comment about that.